Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. In this episode, we're talking about one of the most painful, overlooked, and brutally honest reasons elk season falls apart for a lot of hunters: unrealistic time expectations. Guys head into September thinking a 3, 4, or 5 day hunt is more than enough. Only walk out of the woods shocked that they never even had a real opportunity. They think elk weren't talking or weren't in the unit or were pressured too hard, but most of the time the real culprit is the clock. Time is the invisible predator that ruins more hunts than weather, pressure, moon phases, or calling mistakes. When you don't give yourself enough time, or when you misuse the time you have, the mountain punishes you instantly. Elk operate on tight daily patterns, slow rotations, and unpredictable movement windows. The hunter who needs everything to happen in 3 days almost never gets the chance. Today, we're breaking down 4 hard truths that a lot of hunters don't want to admit. Why a 3 to 5 day hunt almost always fails. Why you need a morning and evening pattern before moving areas. Why guys bail from good sign way too early. Why guys hunt too fast and burn the very opportunities they're chasing. If your season didn't work out this year and you walked away feeling like you ran out of time, this episode is going to hit home. Let's get into it. In section 1, why 3 to 5 day hunts almost always fail. A lot of hunters still treat elk hunting like it's a whitetail trip or a long weekend adventure. They plan to drive in Friday, hunt Saturday, Sunday, Monday, drive home Tuesday, hoping everything lines up. But here's the truth. A 3 to 5 day elk hunt is basically one long scouting trip, not necessarily a hunt. You're going to spend day 1 trying to locate elk, day 2 understanding their movement, day 3 figuring out the wind and terrain, day 4 adjusting, day 5 finally being in the right place at the right time. It takes 3 days minimum to even begin understanding where elk bed, where elk feed, where elk transition, where they go when pressured, where they are at dawn, where they are at dusk, where they move midday, which direction they favor during thermals, where they break patterns when bumped. You can't gather that in a single morning or a single evening. You can't gather that with a single bugle response. You can't gather that with a single track line. It takes repetition, it takes pattern recognition, and it takes time. A 3 day hunt gives elk 1 chance to make a mistake. A 10-day hunt gives you 20 more chances. Elk aren't impossible, they're simply not on your schedule. Hunters don't fail because there are no elk. Hunters fail because they only give themselves enough time for luck, not success. In section 2, we're going to talk about why you need a morning and evening pattern before moving. This is something almost no one talks about, but it is one of the biggest differences between hunters who get into elk consistently and hunters who see nothing. You must establish a morning pattern and an evening pattern before deciding an area is empty. That takes 2 morning sits and 2 evening sits, or 1 structured full day observation. If you hunt an area one morning and say, no elk here, you're hunting hope, not reality. Elk move in extremely tight windows. 20-minute morning feeding windows, 15-minute bedding transitions, or 30-minute evening movement periods. If you miss that window, you think the basin is empty, but the elk were there. You were just late, early, or facing the wrong direction. So here's the truth. You need 2 full cycles to know if an area is dead. 1 cycle is luck. 2 cycles is information. Elk might talk one morning and go silent the next. If you bail early, you miss the real pattern. Elk may move one ridge over only during the evening. If you only hunt mornings, you miss them entirely. Elk may only be present during low pressure windows. If you show up when other hunters show up, you think they're gone, but they were there an hour earlier. Elk may be cycling through a 48-hour loop. If you quit after 12 hours, you never see the loop. Hunters who give an area 2 full cycles succeed far more than hunters who jump drainages daily. Most hunters don't know the area. They only know one moment in that area. Patterns require time. Without time, there's nothing to pattern. In section 3, we're going to talk about why guys bail from good sign too early. This is a heartbreaking problem because it destroys more opportunities than a lot of guys realize. Most hunters quit areas that are actually prime. I see it all the time. Fresh tracks, fresh poop, active trails, rubbed trees, bedding depressions, day-old wallows, Push marks in the mud, fresh cow chatter, yet the hunter leaves because they didn't hear a bugle that morning. Here's the truth. Sign is a 24-hour window into elk behavior. Bugles are a 5-second window. If you're only relying on bugling to confirm elk presence, you're hunting with the wrong tool. Bulls go silent when they're pressured, or they're moving, or cows are nervous, or they're mid-transition, or thermals are unstable, or the wind is swirling, or they're shadowing another herd, or they're on the edge of bedding zones. Silence does not mean absence. Most hunters think no bugles means no elk, but the more pressured the elk are, the quieter they get. You bail too early, you abandon fresh sign. You walk away from the herd's actual living space. You're leaving just as the elk settle into their real pattern. Hunters need to understand 2 hours of silence means nothing. One morning of silence really doesn't mean anything. Even a full day of silence can mean nothing if the sign is fresh. If the sign says elk are living there, you hunt it boldly, methodically, and patiently until you know their rhythm. If you leave before you understand the rhythm, you're not hunting elk, you're just chasing noise. In section 4, we're going to talk about why guys hunt too fast. This is one of the most devastating mistakes hunters make, and it's almost always tied to unrealistic expectations. When hunters feel rushed, they move too quickly. They stop glassing early. They hike through feeding areas instead of around them. They climb ridges instead of side hilling. They talk too much. They call too much. They approach without letting the thermals stabilize. They blow stalks because they're running out of time. Rushing ruins more opportunities than almost anything else. Most guys hike like they have somewhere to be, but the elk don't. The elk move slow. Elk pause. Elk stage. Elk change elevation bands quietly. Elk take the path with the best wind advantage, not the fastest one. Elk feed in small pockets, not just giant meadows. Elk bed in micro benches that hunters walk right past. When you hunt too fast, you miss the entire mountain. You walk past fresh tracks. You walk past fresh beds. You walk past fresh poop. You blow thermals before they stabilize. You're never in the right place at the right time. You're always reacting instead of anticipating. Hunting fast is almost always a symptom of panic, and panic is born from unrealistic expectations. Slow hunters kill elk. Fast hunters chase elk. If your season didn't work out because you felt like you were always behind, always late, or always almost there, this is probably why. You weren't too slow, you were too fast. Unrealistic time expectations sabotage more elk seasons than most hunters realize. When your hunt window is too short, or when you move too fast because of time pressure, you lose the ability to establish patterns, understand terrain, read the wind, follow the herds, interpret sign, adjust elevation, decipher pressure, make strategic decisions, and capitalize on opportunities. Elk hunting is a long game pursuit. Time is the advantage, time is the teacher, and time is the pattern. When you give yourself enough time and when you slow down enough to actually see the mountain for what it is, September starts to make sense in a way it never has before. If you're tired of running out of time, tired of feeling rushed, tired of guessing, and you want a real foundation and a real plan for next year's hunt, that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. It's more than a membership, it's a way to sharpen your edge with exclusive tools, strategies, and a tribe of hunters who refuse to quit. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site-wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, a member-only t-shirt shipped to your door every month, not available anywhere else, full access to the digital content vault of guides, checklists, programming, backcountry strategies, and mindset training, a private Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of driven hunters who live relentless, direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized advice on training, hunting strategy, or just sharpening your edge, and automatic entry into monthly gear giveaways. If you want next season to be different and you want to hunt with confidence instead of chasing luck, Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com underneath our membership tab. Thanks again for being here. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.